If you've got no money coming in and too much going out, and the situation makes you want to scream and shout, it seems no help is coming and everything's gone wrong. It's the Everyday Legal Problem Song. We hope you pay attention to our story here today. We hope you want to listen to what we have to say. We hope that you'll enjoy the show and also think upon the Everyday Legal Problem Song.
Just everyday things, really, which you don't really think about. What is legal and what is illegal.
I think everyone's had a problem that would class in this field.
Everyday legal problems are problems that people have in their lives that affect them. When we talk about access to justice, oftentimes we're thinking about people need a lawyer in court. But actually, access to justice has all of these little roots out into people's lives. And for many people, that's where the frontier is. I mean, that's where they need the help. They're very, very unlikely to end up in court in their lifetime. What they need help with is maybe they've got a problem with their landlord, maybe they've got a 0 hours contract at work, so they've got no employment rights, maybe they don't have paid sick leave. Maybe there are things that actually, if they were aware that this was a legal problem, there would be some ability to sort it and ameliorate it in a way that makes their life better.
You are now 14th in the queue. Thank you for your patience. Please hold. Your call is important to us. You are now 12th in the queue. Thank you for your patience. Please hold. Hello, how can I help you today?
The Housing Association sent me a letter saying I have just 4 weeks in which to clear my land stock from her house.
That is common practice as well. Sadly, when a resident passes, the family are given 4 weeks to sort out their affairs. Then somebody goes in for repairs and renovations to prepare for the next occupant.
But I live there too. I've lived there for the last 6 years. And in the last 3 years, my land's been too poorly to be on her own.
That information is not in our records. Your name doesn't appear to be on the tenancy agreement.
But she never got round to it.
So legal advice in the city is under massive pressure at the moment. We're having access to legal advice. I see people a lot who are in real need of really good legal advice. If we don't have that on offer, then they're completely stuck and it's really stressful for them and they don't get their access to justice which they should have and which they have a right to have, and that's just not on.
Get the kids up, wash, dress, breakfast, school. Get the kids up, wash, dress, breakfast. Oh, I've got no breakfast. Oh, go to school. Get the kids up, dress, wash. Oh.
A number of years ago, where there was a big cut to legal aid in this country, it was going to have a disproportionate impact on people, including people who are disabled, because it was going to mean that they were going to have difficulties accessing welfare benefits. There was this mismatch in understanding. The government didn't think that people needed advice to apply for benefits. Perhaps they wouldn't have needed advice to apply for benefits. But we have evidence, I have evidence that people need advice to navigate the benefits application process, and that the people who really, really need the benefits are the ones who need that advice the most.
We're trying to encourage focus on people's everyday lives where they're trying to get advice for what might still be a fairly small issue, but which could grow into a big problem. So if you can resolve the disrepair in your house before it becomes severe disrepair, obviously that's going to be better for everybody. And if a bit of advice can help that process, that's kind of what we're trying to instigate.
Poverty knocks on the housing door, home for the shameless, wanton poor. Beware whose name's on your tenancy, homes don't pass successionally.
Earlier this year, our researcher went out into the streets of Liverpool to ask people where they go to get advice for everyday legal problems, who they talk to about their struggles, and how easy it is to access the right advice. For most, they felt they had little or no success in getting the help they need.
We're Collective Encounters. We describe ourselves as a theatre for social change company. We've been going since 2004, so we're now 21. And the work that we do is highly participant-led, and it tackles issues that participants identify as being of concern or of relevance to them. And we develop plays, but very specific kinds of plays from that.
It's been a project where I think I added up about 147 people were involved in the creation of the words that go into the performance. When we started, we didn't know quite how the process was going to go. We didn't know what we were going to get from people in the street. We didn't know what we were going to get from the community groups that we liaised with, how they access advice, what are the barriers to advice, what would make it easier. We used those questions and those stimulus to build creative responses to how we access advice. And then those creative responses I took to the Adult Theatre for Social Change group, and we improvised around them, made characters, and then the characters we made I took back to communities to look at, did those characters reflect what people were saying?
We're not watching a love story, we're portraying things that happen in everyday life.
Where quite a lot of people were acting out scenes in their dealings with the DWP. And again, within the group there's quite a lot of shared experience of needing to ask for help. So it seemed quite real, and I think it was a composite.
How can I help you today? I'm in financial strife. I can't afford to feed my 2 children. Have you filled a universal credit claim? You can fill the form out online. No, I can't do that. I haven't got a computer. Okay, are you actively seeking work? No, I'm looking after my 2 children. How old are they?
The DWP person is played very well. They're tired, they're bored of answering the same old questions, while you've got the other character quite desperately in need of help. It's his first time to make the call, but it's their kind of millionth time they've taken it.
How long is this going to take?
The piece that we're doing is a piece of what we call theatre-informed policy making, which is sort of a combination of provocations, and then we ask our audiences to respond to that work.
And between and amongst the audience, what they'll do is come up with a solution, or maybe many solutions.
And then what the audience creates is performed back to the audience. So it's about making change. So it's about getting an audience in to hear and listen and to think about those things, but also to get decision makers and people that have some sort of power in the city to hear what people are saying.
This is what we're trying to explore. We want to implement some sort of access to advice strategy, a better way of people accessing advice in Liverpool.
A reasonable adjustment seems impossible to get, and they say that you don't qualify and not to be upset. What we're going to do now is we're going to hear your poems. I think it's been great, though, going round and listening to the discussion around the tables and the energy in the room and people's experiences and what they do was just really fascinating. So thank you. And I'd like our facilitators to share, and we're going to go around to over here first. So could you read that for us, the accessing advice, poem number 1 for us?
Helping to claim, hope, stress, lucky dip, recognising, searching, accepting. I need your help, desperate.
The good things about today is being the freshness of ideas and also the consensus of opinion. What some of the messages coming through were about, needing, advice within the community, face-to-face or hybrid.
I was interested that people were talking about accessing their local places and the consistent message about recruiting and training advisors and how we needed to support that, and that there isn't enough people out there to deliver what we need. People know money's tight, people know things are difficult. And when you come as someone from the council, there's always pressure that you're going to fund everything. So I think the realism was really refreshing.
So I'll say once, all fund one fund for all.
All fund one fund for all. So having a central pot of money that you're not having to vie for other people.
One of the things coming out of today was
clearly there's a need for sustainability. Communities, people are getting confused because there will be funding for some of the work that goes on. However, when that funding ends, that stops and people then don't know how to access things.
I thought there was some really positive stuff about providing advice in a way to people which is accessible, and I mean that on multiple different levels, whether it be they've got a route within their community, or whether they've got the right channel, whether it be face-to-face or telephone, or providing people with information and guidance, and also enabling people to have advice ambassadors who can point them in the right place. Lots and lots of good stuff there that I think as we said at the time, some of it exists here and there, but self-evidently the perception is that it doesn't, and where it does exist, it probably exists in a fragmented way, and the coverage is relatively, if that's the right word, is relatively small.
To thrive or not to thrive? Is that the question? Whether 'tis nobler to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take actions against the shackles of poverty by asking for advice and help so as not to suffer alone.
The early intervention came across really strongly, and that's something the council fully supports and wants to see that embedded into everything we do. If we can stop things happening in the first place, it's going to be better for everybody. Outcomes are better, it costs less, people are happier, and we've got loads of frontline staff that, if they were better equipped, could probably support people in a different way to maybe what they do now. So we talked about whether we could get out in mobile, into the neighbourhoods. So yeah, I think there's some things we could actually do as a result of this. So the next steps, we're all going to get back together to look at the recommendations and the ideas and see what we're able to progress.
Were I to manage to get an in-person appointment, would I cease to live in the dread of things getting worse? Would I no more lie awake at night, overwhelmed in anxiety? Would I wake to the bright light of the day, to change, to thrive or not to thrive should not be a question.
There's a huge amount of demand for advice. A handful of organisations that actually give free legal advice. It's hard to make change because there's so many people coming through the doorway and a very small endpoint where people can land. Citizens Advice and law centres, Raise, the Brain Charity, they all have hundreds of people. They've got waiting lists of people trying to get the advice. So every local authority should have a free legal advice strategy.
I'm an individual, not a statistic, so please don't act all bombastic. The digital assistant is too cybernetic. It's Terminator helpline, phony and pathetic.
No more crumbs from the master's table.